Alrighty, see if we can stop it here, aka Leroy Jenkins on Activision. I'm going to be going over the CR-56 AMAX assault rifle attachments. I'm only going to be quickly going over the attachments, but I will be making more videos on my favorite attachments for each gun. But until then, let's get into it. First off, we have the muzzles. First off, the muzzle brake. Pros: recoil stabilization. Cons: aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Redirects gases outward to stabilize the weapon for better control of sustained fire. Now we have the flash guard. Pros: muzzle flash concealment. Cons: bullet velocity. Suppresses the flash of your weapon to help keep your target invisible and your position concealed. Now we have the tactical suppressor. Pros: sound suppression. Cons: aim down sight speed and aim locking steadiness. After that, the lightweight suppressor. Pros: sound suppression. Cons: damage range. Next is the compensator. Pros: recoil control. Cons: aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Expels gases upward to aggressively fight muzzle climb. Last but not least, for the muzzles, we have the monolithic suppressor. Pros: sound suppression, damage range. Cons: aim down sight speed and aim locking steadiness. Now we are on to the barrels. First off, the FSS 8.3 inch intruder. Pros: aim down sight speed and movement speed. Cons: bullet velocity and recoil control. Now we have the XRK Zodiac S440. Pros: damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. Cons: aim down sight speed and movement speed. Superior muzzle velocity and stabilization at the cost of agility. Now we have the FSS 11.8 inch Squall. Pros: aim down sight speed. Cons: bullet velocity. Now we're on to the lasers. First off, the 5 milliwatt laser. Pros: hipfire accuracy and sprint to fire speed. Cons: laser visible to enemies. Exposes position when active, only for the aggressive. Next up, the 1 milliwatt laser. Improves hipfire accuracy, and there are no cons. Last for the lasers, the tac laser. Pros: aim down sight speed, aiming stability, aim locking steadiness. Cons: laser visible to enemies, improves accuracy while aiming down sights, exposes position when active. Now we are on to the optics. First off, we have the GI Mini Reflex. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed, thin frame for unobstructed sight picture. Now we have the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed. Next up is the Aim Op Reflex Sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the Scout Combat Optic. 3.25 times magnification for long range targeting. Pros: zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the APX5 holographic sight, advanced holographic sight of Russian origin. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed. Next is the 4.0 times flip hybrid, long range 4.0 times optic, manually flips to closer range holographic sight. Pros: hollow and scout toggle and zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the Solo Zero Optics Mini Reflex. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed. Next is the VLK 3.0 times optic. 3.0 times magnification, provides reliable targeting. Pros: zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. After that, the Operator Reflex Sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the Sniper Scope. 4.4 times scope for long range encounters. Optic glint visible to enemies. Pros: zoom level. Cons: aim down sight speed. Now we have the Solar Zero NVG Enhanced 3.25 Gen 3 night vision with thermal overlay for enhanced situational awareness, not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros: thermal target identification and zoomable. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Now we have the Integral Hybrid 3.25 Scout with integral reflex sight for quickly transitioning between sights. Pros: reflex and scout toggle and zoomable. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Now we have the Viper Reflex Sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. After that, the PBX Hollow 7 sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. And we have the Monocle Reflex Sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Low intrusion frame for improved target tracking. Now we have the Canted Hybrid 3.25 times Scout with a side mounting reflex sight. Lets you change engagement distances with a flick of the wrist. Pros: reflex and scout toggle and zoomable. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Now we have the variable zoom scope. Advanced scope zooms between 3.0 and 6.1 times for fighting at extended ranges. Optic glint visible to enemies. Pros: zoomable and magnification toggle. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Now we have the Cronin C480 Pro Optic. 3.5 times magnification provides excellent targeting. Pros: zoomable, target aimed on target. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Don't know what I'm talking about. Tired, I'm sorry. Next is the Cronin LP945 Mini Reflex. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Now we have the Merc Thermal Optic. 3.25 times scope with thermal imaging, highlights targets and provides visibility in all lighting conditions, not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros: thermal target identification and zoomable. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Last, for the optics, we have the Thermal Hybrid. 3.25 times thermal scope with a side mounting reflex sight. Toggles thermal imaging with a flick of the wrist, not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros: reflex and thermal toggle and zoomable. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Now we're on to the stocks. First off, for the stocks, the FSS close quarter stock. Gets you on target faster. Pros: aimed on sight speed. Cons: aiming stability. Now the FTAC Hunter. Gives you aim steady for precision shots. Pros: aiming stability. Cons: aim locking movement speed. Then we have no stock. Pros: movement speed and aimed on sight speed. Cons: aiming stability and recoil control. After that, the FTAC Spartan. Pros: aim walking movement speed. Cons: aiming stability. Designed for agility while aiming down sights. Now we have the XRK Gatekeeper. Pros: aiming stability, aim locking steadiness. Cons: aim locking movement speed. Provides exceptional control while aiming at the cost of mobility. Last, for these stocks, we have the CR-56 EXO. Pros: aim locking movement speed, aimed on sight speed. Cons: aiming stability. Stock speeds up weapon handling and movement at the expense of aiming stability. Now we are on to the underbarrels. First off, the underbarrels, we have the Commando foregrip. Pros: recoil stabilization, aiming stability. Cons: movement speed, keeps up and steady while aiming and helps maintain control during heavy fire. Now we have the American foregrip. Pros: recoil control, hip fire accuracy. Cons: aim locking movement speed and aim down sight speed. Now we have the 12 gauge WD. Pros: underbarrel shotgun. Cons: aim down sight speed. Next is the bipod. For pros, crouch / prone recoil control, and there are no cons. Next up is the M203 40mm Recon. Pros, Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots snapshot rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now we have the M203 40mm Concussive. Pros, Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots concussive rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Next is the Ranger foregrip. Pros, recoil control, aiming stability. Cons, aim walking movement speed and aim down sight speed. Foregrip improves vertical recoil and stabilizes weapon while aiming for improved long-range combat. Next up is the M203 40mm Flash. Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots flash rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now we have the M203 40mm Smokescreen. Pros, Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots smoke rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now we have the tactical foregrip. Pros, aiming stability. Cons, movement speed. Provides superior control acquiring targets. Next up is the M203 40mm Incendiary. Underbarrel grenade launcher shoots incendiary rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now we have the M203 40mm High Explosive. Pros, Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots explosive rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Last, for the Underbarrels, we have the Operator foregrip. Pros, recoil control. Cons, aim down sight speed. Helps control recoil for faster follow-up shots. Now we're onto the ammunition. First off, the 45 round mags. Stated bag holds 45 rounds of 7.62 by 39mm ammunition. Pros, magazine ammo capacity. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now we have the M67 10R mags. 10 rounds of 7.62 M67 ammunition designed for increased muzzle velocity, improved accuracy, and superior damage. Weapon defaults to semi-auto. Pros, aim down sight speed, damage, movement speed, and bullet velocity. Cons, magazine ammo capacity. Now we are on to the rear grips. First off, the XRK CR-56 granulated wrap. Pros, aiming stability, aim walking steadiness. Cons, aim walking movement speed, keeps you steady and on target. After that, the XRK's CR-56 stippled wrap. Pros, aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. Cons, aiming stability, less stable but very agile. And last, for the rear grips, we have the XRK CR-56 rubberized wrap. Pros, recoil control. Cons, aiming stability, less steady but helps control recoil. And last, we have the perks. First off, heavy hitter, melee produces greater stun on targets. Then we have recon, see enemy nameplates at greater distances. And then frangible wounding, bullets cause target healing to be briefly delayed. Now we have FMJ, increases bullet penetration and damage against equipment and kill streaks. Then we have sleight of hand for reload quickness. After that, fast melee for melee quickness. Next, frangible disabling, bullets slow enemy movement and briefly disable tactical sprint when shooting legs. And next we have fully loaded, start with maximum reserve ammo. Next is Mo Money, earn additional XP for kills, headshot XP. And last but not least, Presence of Mind, extended hold breath duration. And that is it for the CR-56 AMAX assault rifle. And again, I will be making videos about my favorite attachments for this gun later on. But until then, have a great day and peace.